Brady's fourth Super Bowl title for the Patriots was hard for many to imagine just a few months ago. The team lost 2 of its first 4 games, including a drubbing by the Kansas City Chiefs that left some wondering if Tom Brady's best days were behind him. Earlier today, I spoke with one local Patriots watcher about what went wrong early in the season and what changed between then and last night. Tony Maserati is the co-host of Felger and Maz on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and he just got back a few hours ago from Phoenix, right?
Yes, indeed. Yep, on the red eye out of Phoenix last night.
Let me start by asking you, did you think there was any chance you were going to see a Patriots Super Bowl win after they started 2-2? Be honest.
Actually, honestly, I did not rule it out. No, I did not rule it out. I knew that the talent on the team was pretty good and that they would need to play better. But the start was so horrendous that it really challenged what we thought about the team going into the year. But talent-wise, there was quite a bit there, again, particularly on defense.
So you don't need to offer any mea culpas like, you didn't call for the breakup of the team or Garoppolo's elevation to starting quarterback or anything like that?
No, but I did say if things didn't change, we would be introducing a lot of those topics. And they still had time to correct it and fix it. And nobody was pulling the plug on their chances at a championship, but they had, at the time, real problems.
So what was it that they did change after that 4-week mark that got them to where they ended up last night?
Yeah, I think the big thing was Brady. I think Tom Brady was disillusioned at the start of the year for whatever reason, largely due to probably the trading of Logan Mankins and those types of moves where you take a core player from your organization and send him somewhere else right before the start of the season can have real shockwaves. And at the same time, they had drafted Brady's potential replacement in the spring. And so there were all of these elements that I think when you added up led to a great deal of frustration on the part of Brady. And in the fourth game, the game where they got crushed by Kansas City, Brady to me looked like mentally he checked out. He checked out, which is very unusual for him. And I think it reached a critical mass at that stage where Tom Brady said, I'm going to pull myself out of this. We're going to get the team out of this because I am not going to go 8-8. I'm not doing it.
I was actually going back listening to the audio of you guys after the Chiefs game, and I remember you making that call. You said he just looked like his heart wasn't in it. He was detached. And, yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, well, I just think that he was frustrated. He felt that he had been put in a position to fail. He didn't believe in the talent around him because largely, again, I go back to the trade of Mankins. That one really sent shockwaves through the locker room, I think. And so if Brady was ticked off, I understood it. When he stayed ticked off for 4 weeks, I think it reached the point of, okay, enough. He's gone, time to play. And if you remember, the first drive in the next game against Cincinnati, Brady was a force. He was running the ball. He was emotionally invested. They blew out the Bengals, and then everything kind of got on track from there.
Do you think Brady and or Belichick and or any of the other players, did they take the criticism that they were hearing from you, from others who watched the team, and did they sort of nurse those slights, turn those grievances into fuel?
Use them. Yeah, did they use them? Probably. Probably, because I think that's what Belichick and Brady do, and it's one of their strengths. I don't take stuff like that personally. We have our job, they have theirs, the fans have their job too. And at that time, if you weren't critical of the Patriots, I don't think you were being honest. 4 games in, it was bad. The product was bad.
Other than attitude shifts, did they do anything in terms of, did Belichick change play calling at all, or any of his coaches? Did any individual players step up, other than Brady, who maybe hadn't been forces to be reckoned with early on, who took their games to another level?
Yeah, I think 2 things probably happened that were critical. One is that the offensive line stabilized. After Mankins left, the first month, they really played musical chairs there a little bit with their offensive line. And if you want to destroy an offense or a football team, the best way to do it is to rip apart the offensive line. You can't run, you can't pass, the quarterback gets killed, and it destroys morale. To me, it's step 1 to really pulling the rug out from under a football team. Once that stabilized, they put a rookie Brian Stork at center and a couple of veteran guys at guard, and again, everything sort of stabilized. The offense got better, and the other thing is Rob Gronkowski got fully healthy. And it happened at the end of the Kansas City game where Gronkowski, too, got fed up. There was a touchdown he scored on a pass from Jimmy Garoppolo late in that game where Gronkowski was knocking people over at the goal line. And you saw some of the anger again and focus and intensity. And then, again, once you had Brady back, the line fixed, and Gronkowski back, everything sort of started to fall into place.
Brady, as you know, has said he'd like to play into his 40s, and presumably he'd want to do that at a high level. Do you think he's capable of that?
Based on what I saw in the fourth quarter last night, yes. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it doesn't mean that he is the best quarterback in the league anymore, but what it does mean is that he's one of the top 2 or 3, maybe 5 if you wanted to go that far. But other than Aaron Rodgers, I don't know that you could definitively point to any player at his position in the league and say that he's a better quarterback. So he's got a 3-year contract extension starting next season. I don't think it's unreasonable based on what we saw to say he's got another 2 or 3 in him.
What about, based on what we saw in the fourth quarter, his ranking in the hierarchy, the all-time hierarchy of great quarterbacks?
Yeah, Joe Montana to me is generally regarded as the greatest quarterback in the history of the game.
Still after last night?
Well, no, I meant going in. And I think that Brady's right there. He's pretty close. So they each have 4 Super Bowl wins. There's certainly an intangible element to them. Brady has been now to 6 Super Bowls, more than any quarterback in the history of the game. Montana was perfect in Super Bowls, 0 interceptions in 4 Super Bowls with 11 touchdown passes. Brady threw 2 alone last night. So you have little things like that you can pick at. But if someone wanted to argue to me that Tom Brady is right there with Joe Montana, I don't think anybody would have a huge argument with that.
Let me ask you in closing where you think this Patriots team ranks compared to the other teams that have won Super Bowls, or that team that was perfect and then didn't win one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's their best team ever. Their 04 team was exceptional. They went 14-2 during the regular season, then won 3 more, 17-2. This team obviously went 15-4, so 1 loss, it isn't quite there. The 01 team, I think, because of the Cinderella nature of it, holds a really special place in everybody's heart in this area. But when you really weigh this thing out this year, they were down 14-0 and 28-14 in the divisional round, and they came back. They tied it again, and won it. And then last night, down 10 points in the fourth quarter to a team that looks like it was a budding dynasty in the league and now has an identity crisis. I don't think you can say that any team in Patriots history under Bill Belichick has ever had more heart than this one. Maybe as much, but the grit that they demonstrated in the postseason was off the charts good. And the level of competition they beat during the regular season, also very, very high. It's in the conversation, I think, is among the 3 greatest Patriots teams ever.
All right, Tony Maserati, thank you. Welcome back to Boston. Got some rest?
Yep, happy to be here, absolutely. Good reason to be home.